I'm Robert Cavuto, and today on Metal Rules, I'm pleased to be speaking with Joakim Brodén of Sabaton for the release of the long-awaited album Legends, which comes out October 17th. Welcome. Pleasure to speak with you again.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I know we were off camera. We were just talking. I saw you last opening up for Priest. I believe it was 2024, and you just announced a headlining tour yesterday of the US.
Yeah, good
Awesome.
timing on the interview.
Yeah, and I'm going to come out and see you. It seems like a lifetime away, March, but I'm going to come and see you in Philly.
All right. Yeah, sounds
Yeah,
good. Yeah, it's
yeah.
gonna be good to be coming back headlining again. It's been a while. I don't think we've headlined in the US since 22 or 21. I can't remember.
Okay. Right. All right. So yeah, I'm excited. You gonna bring the tank drum riser?
I hope so.
That was so cool with the gun turrets on top. That was pretty neat.
Oh yeah.
I was really impressed by that. So yeah, I love the new album too. We're here to talk a little bit about the new album.
Thank you.
It's bold, it's loud, and it's infectious. How did you approach the creation of this album regarding legendary historic figures versus maybe in the past you go with typical battle stories and scenarios and scenes?
Well, one thing that's harder in this case is we usually love to dig up the unknown,
Yeah.
stuff people haven't heard about before.
Mhm.
Uh, but if that was the case, they wouldn't be legends, would they?
Right. Sure.
So that gave us a bit of a problem. So we're working sort of geographically in enough time wise instead. I mean, Senusret the third, 1800 before Christ.
Yeah.
Legendary, absolutely, but it's so long ago that most people, I don't think, have, come across him. And for us with Western, educations, most people might not have come across Lu Bu, the Chinese general, or Miyamoto Musashi from Japan.
Yep.
So a bit of a different take on where to dig things up, but also obviously you can't ignore people like Julius Caesar on
Right.
an album like this.
Yeah, and that's my favorite song. I have a couple of questions about that on the album. I love that song. Um, Sabaton sound has always been consistent. It's your signature sound. Fans know exactly what they're getting, and the familiarity is comforting and energizing at the same time. Tell me about the balance of striking that combination of consistent Sabaton music and then allowing yourself to experiment in different directions.
Oh, that's the biggest problem for I think most songwriters. I don't think it's a Sabaton specific
Mhm.
problem, but I mean, some fans, and I'm not saying there's a right or wrong, but we're all different.
Mhm.
Some people want Sabaton to really be Sabaton, and then some people wants to see Sabaton be Sabaton plus and whatever Sabaton could be, I don't know how to explain it. Some
Yeah, no,
people
that's
like
fair.
it traditional, and we've always been sort of an evolutionary band rather than a revolutionary band.
Okay.
So we have, over the years widened our horizons, I guess, brought more stuff in. So if we look at, for example, Ghost Division today, people will say that's core Sabaton. Yeah, but in 2008, that was a brutal, straight on hard song. We hadn't done anything like that.
Mhm.
Then, you know, those things are being brought into the fold to hell and back with a bit of spaghetti western, guitar and everything like that
Yeah.
being brought in. So that's been the approach so far. I mean, it seems though that like we can push as long as we are not pushing just to push, if you
Yeah.
know what I mean.
I do. I do. Yeah,
Uh, it,
I think Def
it,
Leppard and like AC/DC fall in that same category where people want to hear that over-synthesized, overproduced for Def Leppard and for AC/DC. They want to hear that simplistic blues chords. And that's what, and it's worked for AC/DC over 50 years, Def Leppard probably 30, 40 years, right? So it's working. And then I
yeah,
think, every time I listen to it, I enjoy the album more, and I think it's great. So kudos to you guys for putting together. The choruses and the verses are so big and so expansive. It sounds like you have people singing in the background over some of these parts. Getting tell me a little bit about that approach because that was fascinating to hear the power. And then I think there's even some synthesizer behind
yeah,
it too.
there's a lot of everything here.
Yeah, you got
More
choirs, you
is
got
more with the
synthesizer.
Sabaton.
What's that?
We are more is more with the Sabaton. We're not really a minimalist band. Uh, I would say coming from a background, I mean, everybody in the band grew up with classic 80s hard rock and metal.
Mhm.
That's what we all have in common. We all like different stuff. Some people, I mean, I listen to classical music, while as Chris and Hannes, for example, might enjoy harder metal. I do that as well, but they do it more. But
Mhm.
that 80s stuff, hard rock, and I guess I should say 70s as well. Classic hard rock and metal is what we all grew up with, and that's our common core for everybody in the band as songwriters. And me then, as one of the guys who write the most songs, coming from organ background where I played both Hammond and church organ when I was
Okay.
younger, and bringing in those choirs as we talked about,
Yeah.
it comes like I like it that way. I mean,
Yeah.
I like choirs like every rock band does. You could add some harmonies. Just for some reason, I thought it would be more interesting to arrange them like church choirs. So that's what we still do. I had this crazy idea back in 2003, I think it was, and we're still doing it.
I think it's great. I think it makes it more powerful. Are you going to bring a synthesizer or keyboard player out with you guys on tour for US to
I
fill
don't
in
know. I don't
those
think so.
songs?
We've had this since Daniel Muir left in 2012. We've had synths on backtracks,
Okay.
basically.
Got it.
We're already synchronizing a time code and a click track for everyone there,
Yeah.
and then especially on bigger production shows, we're synchronizing obviously lights, pyros, and everything that has to go along to that, which is uh, a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
You can get everything super tight, with the lights synchronized and the pyro. It goes exactly where it should be.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you're playing to a click track, which, yeah,
I think it's
it is
fun.
what it is.
I think it's great, and I think it's going to sound great. So I'm really excited about it. We talked about Julius Caesar. The song is "Crossing the Rubicon." Great song about fear, dread, tyranny. It is. Did you write that from Julius Caesar's perspective, or did maybe even a soldier's perspective? It's like he's crossing the Rubicon. It's like holy shit. It's so. I was just wondering when you took it on, where perspective are you writing it from?
That was one of the trickiest ones. I mean, every
Yeah.
song is different, so there's not really one way we do things. It's all, slightly different for every song. But on that one, we had ideas for the music, and then the lyrics came later,
Okay.
even though knowing it was about Caesar. But then the biggest problem came when it comes down to the lyrics, and that is how do you condense one of the greatest conquerors in history,
Mhm.
such a well-documented human being, uh, into 3.5 minutes of heavy metal? It's
Yeah.
and sometimes we have to focus on one moment in that person's life, as we do in some songs.
Yep.
In this case, though, we thought, yeah, we can have Crossing the Rubicon in there because it's catchy and it fit perfectly
Yeah.
with the melody. So absolutely. But the rest of the lyrics, it is more of a guess story of Caesar and whatever he did. And there are hints in there, 100 years before our Lord, from the cradle to the sword. Well, he was born 100 years before
Right.
Christ, so and onward it goes.
And you have two versions of that. The one I heard was the one with you singing the whole thing, and then there was a one that was just released, a lyrical video, where it has the two members of Nothing More. Which one
Yeah.
will be on the album? How does that come into play?
Album version is the one you heard,
Okay.
and then we did that. That's a separate single version. We're label mates with Nothing More now, and I don't know if it came from the label or from Nothing More in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I'm usually the grumpy guy who don't like these things. So I fully expected to go in and cut this thing off. Like, no, it sounds like shit. Let's not do it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it sounded awesome, and
Yeah.
Johnny's vocals are amazing. Added a lot of cool stuff to it. So I thought, why the hell not? You know?
I think it sounded great. It was funny
Yeah.
because I was watching and listening to the lyrical one, and I was like, wait a minute. Wait, what? That's not in the one I've been listening to for the
Yeah,
last
yeah, yeah.
weeks.
It's quite different actually, both with the guitars and the vocals.
So instantly I said, wait a minute. This is my favorite song, and I got to go back and listen to the one I got, and it was all you. So I was like, that was one of my questions. But I love the song. I think it's great. Do you find it easier to write a narrative story, a narrative song, or from somebody's perspective? What is it? What's easier? Like a overview, a historical overview? I can't imagine putting history to music, you know?
Oh, it depends. It's different for every song, but in general, I would say if you're focused on one thing and you decide, like basically, okay, this is
Okay.
like lightning at the gates. I mean, Hannibal Barca, it's, also a general. We could have taken a lot of the Battle of Cannae and whatever, but we're focusing on him crossing the Alps,
Yeah.
which can be liberating because you can exclude a lot of data and a lot of info. And if there is enough info about that specific event, great, then that's
Yeah.
the easiest way to do it. But what if you run out of stuff, you know, while songwriting, then there's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, the trickiest part I would say is to do the zoomed out perspective and try to cover everything because you're always you're gonna
Yeah.
forget something.
Do you go back to history books and the internet and try and figure out what moment in time is the best or most interesting or the easiest to sing about? I don't know. It's
It
mind-blowing to me.
goes with, in many cases, that's decided by the energy or the emotional response of the song.
Yeah,
I mean, we're singing about certain people that are from a first person
yeah,
perspective because that's the way we felt was more interesting. But in general, it's actually the music itself sort of sorts that out,
okay,
how you tell the story in a sense, what way. And sometimes we just choose whatever seems most well inspiring to us because we genuinely believe that if we are really excited about something, that's the approach we should take because
great.
being excited about it or curious, finding out about all that, and well, maybe that's the aspect of that conflict or that human being you should be focusing on
Yeah.
because there's a chance other people might get excited about that too.
It's fascinating, like you're saying you grew up in the 80s or listening to 80s music. I grew up in the 80s and I love it. The sex, the drugs, the rock and roll, the party, the girls. So this is very different to me to taking a story and converting it down and condensing it and making it work. When did you realize that you had a gift for storytelling like this in music, musical storytelling?
I don't know. I don't think I do really. I'm just too stubborn to mess up in in a way. And uh, I mean, we started out first stuff we had with the band wasn't really about military history, and then we had the music to the song that became Primo Victoria, but we only had the music at that point, and it had a big sound to it.
Mhm.
So we decided we can't sing about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, or beer or motorcycles.
Right.
Not that we actually have anything against any of those things. We just thought that wouldn't be right for that piece of music. So we thought, well, something big, D-Day, and
Yeah.
wrote the lyrics about the D-Day on the landings on Normandy Beach on the 6th of June, 1944. And all of a sudden, writing lyrics wasn't a necessary evil anymore. It was interesting for us as well and engaging. We wanted to find out more. So we thought, and this is back in, a long time ago, we thought, yeah, maybe we should make an album about military history. And yeah, here we are,
Yeah.
20 years later, still doing
Ah,
it.
it works. And you guys own that, and that's wonderful about it. I read that every band member contributed to the making of these songs, which was maybe a little different approach than in the past. Tell me a little bit about how you put that all together and got everybody involved.
Uh, that's funny because while it is true and we're very happy about it, it's just by accident.
Okay.
We didn't do anything different,
Yeah.
actually. The thing is, I've written with Hannes before, our drummer, and he doesn't write songs very often. And however, back in 2014 when we released Heroes, me and Chris were working on some stuff that we couldn't finish it really. And well, that song became Attack of the Dead Men for Great War.
Okay.
Uh, so it came way later. It's just by pure chance because everybody in the band now has been credited as songwriters before.
Right.
And there's usually been, couple of tracks here and there with Chris, but for some reason, especially when actually I was writing with Hannes, there was nothing with Chris. So it's
Do,
pure chance.
do you play guitar? I was wondering because you said you write a lot of the songs. I would imagine you're doing the melodies, you're doing the volume of lyrics, but do you play guitar also?
Yeah, badly, but I do, and I like it. Especially rhythm is, I mean, I'm not great at it, but I can certainly write riffs, and many
Yeah,
of the riffs on the tra songs are written by me. In not all of the cases, of course, but I love it. I mean, I'm a shitty drummer, and I've given up on that for
yeah,
sure. But bass and guitar, it's it's so much fun to play them for real when writing the songs. I mean, my parts are deleted once we don't need the pre-production anymore, and real
yeah,
guitarists who know what they're doing are
yeah.
and real bass players who put their stuff on. But yeah, it's I usually have to leave a gap though for the solos, or actually play them on Hammond organ.
Oh
And yes,
wow.
there, and I have an idea for a solo, and then I play it on keyboards because I sound like yeah, I sound like crap if I try to solo. It's horrible, actually.
I play guitar, but I agree. Solos have always been the calculus of the world. It's like I don't understand what the hell any of this means. I could play riffs, I could play guitar, I could play rhythm, but throw me a lead and it's like, oh my God. So it's a little bit challenging. So I get it. Another favorite song, Templar. Video is epic. Brings that cinematic approach to the song and brings it to life. The video has you guys fighting an epic battle. That armor that you guys were wearing looks so clunky, and I have to believe it was pretty much real to date. So I was wondering what your perspective of was putting on that type of armor and trying to fight, even not even hurting each other, but trying to fight in it. It looks so clunky. Is that the case?
It's very clunky. It is. It's a horrible existence when you're trying to record that in Serbia in almost 100-degree heat.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
Um, and these are time correct armors in that sense from a reconstruction group called the White Eagles. Thanks to those guys for letting us use their stuff. There's quite a few of them, so we could, make a mishmash of armor that could, fit every band member. But let's be honest, it's not a perfect fit. It's never gonna be. And yeah, I mean, sitting in a room, small, tiny room in a castle when it's extremely hot outside, and then just for the film, they're putting on a fire. Yes, in the fireplace. It's like, oh shit, and then nobody wants to drink because going to the toilet and taking a piss is going to be a 10-minute walk
Yeah.
over the courtyard or over to the cafes, and on the way there, you get stopped by tourists who think you're a part of the show who wants to take selfies with you.
Oh shit. That is so funny.
Yeah,
I didn't
so
think of
yeah,
the bathroom part of it. That's horrible. Yeah.
so
How
it's
about the
a
fight
it's a
scenes?
20-minute, 30-minute thing to take a piss.
Yeah. How about the fight scenes? The fight scenes, they looked realistic, but they looked really challenging to do in that armor. You got to wonder these poor people back in the Middle Ages how to deal with that and, make it work to survive.
Yeah. I think the one mistake we did is even though we rehearsed the battle scenes, we came down a day or two, I think, in advance, and we practiced. So we had an armor fitting, and we actually trained the choreography of our scenes and battle scenes. But they
Yeah.
were with basically fake swords, pool noodles, glorified pool noodles, that
Yeah.
looked like
Yeah.
swords. Uh, and sort of rehearsing with those. Sure, get the moves down, and they're like, yeah, sure, you guys are gonna be fine. Yeah, until you got a real metal sword and you got armor inhibiting your every move, and you're supposed to strike a guy who's coming at you, and you have to hit him exactly at the right time, and you don't want to hurt this guy,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God.
So it was way trickier than we thought. We were a bit cocky after the rehearsals, but we found out the hard way that actors have a way tougher job than us.
How long did it take you to film that? A couple of days?
Yeah, I think one day of fitting and rehearsals, then one day of interior scenes,
Uh-huh.
and so we filmed actually the beginning and the end in one location, and then the big battle scenes and us on the rampart and everything is a second. So two and a half
2.5 days.
2.5 days of filming because they were also filming over the night into the next night for some shots.
Okay, got it. Yeah, it's great. People who haven't checked it out should definitely check it out. It's a great song, great video. My last question to you, but I want to be respectful of your time. Sabaton is truly a global phenomenon, hence the reason that you're able to come back to the United States. Can you explain what is it about your music that transcends to so many people across so many cultures for the last 25, 26 years?
I don't know, but maybe we're the last of a breed in that sense. Um, we didn't think about it because this is the music that was quite common when we started, and it is, what we all came from. But this kind of music that has a yeah bit of catchy melodies, a bit of melodic guitar riffs. The guitar isn't only used as a percussion instrument
Yeah,
where you actually have that. There aren't that many doing that left. Obviously, we got Iron Maiden; they're still
yeah,
doing it. I'm not,
true.
but among a younger generation, it's getting rarer and rarer, unfortunately.
Yeah,
And I think somehow, well, I shouldn't be complaining when I'm saying this, and I'm not, but it is, I think since there aren't that many bringing that heritage onward, I think we are one of the few bands. If you grew up liking that music,
yeah,
who are you going to listen to that's around these
very true.
days? I mean, we're among the youngest ones for sure doing
Yes.
that.
Everybody's retiring. You know, the Aerosmiths, the Kisses, all those guys that were heavy, heavy guitar, heavy melody are slowly going away. So clearly this is the next gen. You're the next generation picking it up and carrying it forward to be the Iron Maidens, the Halloweens. I think it's tremendous. But
Halloween, on the other hand, put out a great album the other day, just a week or two ago.
oh yeah, freaking awesome album. That is,
That's
I've been listening to yours and that. Those are the two albums that I've been nonstop listening to. What a tremendous album that is. It's my favorite Halloween album,
yeah,
I think.
yeah. It's I think for me personal favorite for the last 20 years they did. I
I
think.
agree. I totally agree. And I love it. Well, listen, I want to thank you so much for your time. So insightful. And it was always a pleasure to speak with you. And I can't wait to see you guys in March. So I will be there. All right. Have a great
Thank you
day.
for having me.
Bye bye.
You too. Bye bye.